I'll be playing the role of an edible bug advocate, and my audience is the Food and Drug Administration. Hi everyone, thank you for being here today. My name is Amy, and I'm here to explain why insects should be incorporated into the American diet. The foods you see here on the left look appetizing. But what if I were to tell you that they were actually made with insects? Do you think you would still give them a try? So you might be wondering, why would anyone in the world want to eat insects? Well, there's actually 3 really compelling reasons to start incorporating insects into our diet. The first is that insect farming is sustainable. Second, insects are actually very nutritious. And lastly, our aversion to eating insects can be irrational. So the first reason why we should start eating more insects is because insect farming is sustainable. Insects can thrive on organic waste, requiring significantly less resources such as land, food, and water than traditional farm animals. Also, according to the UN, the livestock industry produces over 15% of global greenhouse gas emissions worldwide. By comparison, cricket production produces 80 times less greenhouse gas. As you can see on the diagram here, cricket production is also twice as efficient as cattle production. So beyond the environmental benefits of incorporating insects into our diet, insects are also highly nutritious. So they come packed with macronutrients like protein and micronutrients like fiber, calcium, iron, and zinc. As you can see on the image here, for a 200-calorie serving of crickets, there's a higher protein content, a lower fat content, and a higher fiber content in comparison to alternative protein sources like beef and salmon. Lastly, our aversion to eating insects can be irrational. Insects might seem unpalatable to most Americans, but for thousands of years, people all over the world have eaten insects. Today, about 2 billion people in parts of Asia, Africa, and South America eat insects as part of their regular diets. Moreover, attitudes towards food change over time. For instance, eating raw fish used to be seen as something that was very radical, but in the 1970s, Americans started to overcome their fear of raw meat and began to eat sushi, and now they love it. As food culture evolves, Americans will gradually overcome feelings of revulsion towards consuming insects, and it'll become more socially acceptable. Who knows, maybe one day in the future we'll be seeing insect sushi. Some people might argue that insects can be unsanitary or unsafe for human consumption. While it is true that many wild insects feed on decaying matter that can seem unsanitary, insects that are raised on insect farms with high hygienic standards are actually very safe for human consumption. Now that we've covered the main reasons why we should start incorporating insects into our diet, this is where the FDA comes in. The FDA is responsible for protecting public health by assuring that foods are safe and sanitary. However, the meat industry is actually threatening the FDA's mission by harming the American people in significant ways. High meat consumption is linked to poor health like heart disease and cancer, and the antibiotics commonly used in livestock farming contributes to antibiotic resistance in humans, which is a growing public health concern. Moving forward, together we can begin setting guidelines for FDA approval of insect-based foods, promoting nutritional and environmental benefits of consuming insects, and supporting the development of sustainable insect farming. I look forward to working with all of you together in the future towards bringing insects into the American diet. That concludes my presentation, and now I'm open to questions and answers. So a question I received is that some people may wonder about what the taste of regular insects is versus regular meat. So first I want to state that insects actually don't have an unpleasant taste at all. While insects might not taste the same way as steak does, studies show that people who have tried insects report that they can taste like nuts or even like bacon. The flavor of insects comes from the natural fats that they contain, and when combined with their crunchiness, they can make for a nutritious and tasty snack. Another question I received is, how do you envision incorporating insect-based foods into the American diet? Insects are actually very versatile. They taste great when they're spicy, salty, deep fried, or even chocolate covered. Moreover, insects can be processed into things like flours, protein powder, instant oatmeal, and energy bars. And I'm confident that as more research and development occurs, we will discover more creative ways of incorporating insects into our daily diets. Thank you all for listening, and that concludes my presentation.